The transport ship lurched as it entered the station's docking bay, and Lieutenant Marcus Hayes gripped the overhead rail to steady himself. Around him, freed prisoners from a dozen species huddled together, their bodies bearing the marks of captivity. The rescue operation had been a success, but looking at the hollow eyes and trembling limbs of those they had saved, Marcus felt the weight of what they had endured. "Medical teams are standing by," his commanding officer announced over the com. "Get them processed and treated." Marcus nodded and began helping the former captives down the ramp. Most moved in silence, too traumatized to speak. Near the back of the group, he noticed a figure that stood apart from the others. She was humanoid, but distinctly alien, with iridescent blue skin that caught the light like oil on water and eyes that held vertical pupils. Around her neck was a thick metal collar, its surface covered in symbols that pulsed with a faint red glow. She met his gaze, and something in her expression made him pause. Not fear, exactly, but a desperate kind of hope. "That collar," Marcus said, gesturing to it. "Does it hurt?" She flinched at his question, then slowly nodded. Her voice came out rough, as if she had not used it in some time. "It suppresses my strength. My people are much stronger than we appear. The slavers feared us, so they bound us with these." Marcus felt anger rise in his chest. The slavers had already been dealt with, their operation shut down permanently, but the cruelty of what they had done continued to echo in devices like this. "Can you take it off?" he asked. Her eyes widened, and she shook her head quickly. "Only a locksmith or someone with the proper tools. I have tried for months. It will not yield." Marcus pulled out his multi-tool, a standard-issue device that had gotten him out of more than one tight spot. "Let me have a look." She hesitated, then turned slightly to give him access to the collar's locking mechanism. Marcus examined it closely, noting the primitive construction beneath the intimidating appearance. For all their cruelty, the slavers had been sloppy engineers. He found the release point within seconds and applied careful pressure with the tool's smallest attachment. The collar clicked, then fell away. She gasped and caught it before it hit the ground, staring at it with wide eyes. Then she looked up at Marcus, and her expression had transformed entirely. Where there had been wariness before, now there was something like wonder. "You removed it," she whispered. "Yeah," Marcus said, pleased with himself. "Those pins were easier to manipulate than I thought. Are you okay? Does your neck need medical attention?" But she was not listening. She had dropped to one knee, pressing her fist to her chest in what looked like a formal salute. "By the ancient laws of Theron, by the codes that govern my people and bind our hearts, you have freed me from bondage. In doing so, you have claimed me as your own. I am Kira of House Vel, and I recognize you as my spouse." Marcus blinked, then blinked again. "I'm sorry, what?" Kira rose, her bearing suddenly regal despite the ragged clothing and bruises. "You removed my collar. According to the laws of my planet, this act can only be performed by family or by one who wishes to take me as their mate. You are human, so you could not be family. Therefore, you must have intended the latter." "I just wanted to help," Marcus protested. "I didn't know there was some kind of marriage loophole attached to basic compassion." "It is not a loophole," Kira said firmly. "It is law. It is tradition. It is sacred." Other freed prisoners were staring now, and Marcus could feel his face heating up. His commanding officer was going to have his head for this. Intergalactic incidents were supposed to be prevented by the rescue team, not caused by them. "Look," Marcus said, trying for reason, "I'm sure your laws are very important to your people, but I'm human. I'm not bound by them." This was just a misunderstanding. Kira's expression shifted, and for a moment she looked hurt. Then her face hardened into something proud and distant. "You refuse me." "It's not about refusing," Marcus said quickly, realizing how calloused it sounded. I just don't think you should be locked into another kind of obligation right after escaping slavery. You deserve freedom, not another binding. Her vertical pupils dilated, and she studied him for a long moment. You speak of freedom, yet you do not understand what you have given me. The collar was not just physical restraint. It marked me as property, as something less than a person. Only someone who values me could remove it. That is why the law exists. It ensures that when we are freed into the care of someone who sees us as worthy. Marcus felt something in his chest tighten. He had not thought about it that way. To him, it had been a simple act, but to her, the meaning ran far deeper. I do see you as worthy, he said quietly. Every person on this ship is worthy. That's why we came to get you all out. Kira smiled then, small and sad. Then you understand more than you think. Before Marcus could respond, his commanding officer's voice crackled over his personal comm. Hayes, get to debriefing in 10 minutes. We need full reports on all freed prisoners. Understood, Marcus replied. He looked at Kira. I have to go. Medical will take care of you. They'll make sure you're safe. She nodded, but said nothing, watching him walk away with an expression he could not quite read. The next several hours were consumed by paperwork and debriefing. Marcus filed his report, carefully omitting the marriage declaration, because he had no idea how to even begin explaining it through proper channels. When he finally returned to the medical bay to check on the recovered prisoners, he was surprised to find Kira waiting near the entrance. You came back, she said. I wanted to make sure everyone was doing okay, Marcus replied. How are you feeling? Stronger, Kira said, rolling her shoulders as if testing her range of motion. The doctor said I was malnourished, but that I will recover fully. She also said that I would be transported to the Theronian embassy within 2 days. That's good, Marcus said. You'll be able to go home. Kira's expression grew complicated. Home is complicated now. I was taken from a wedding caravan. I was meant to marry a man from a neighboring house to strengthen political alliances. That arrangement is certainly void now, as I was gone for nearly a year. My family may have already grieved me as dead. Marcus felt a pang of sympathy. I'm sorry. That must be incredibly hard. It is, Kira agreed. But it also means I am free to choose my own path for the first time in my life. That is terrifying and wonderful in equal measure. They stood in silence for a moment, the bustle of the medical bay continuing around them. Finally, Marcus spoke. For what it's worth, I meant what I said earlier. You deserve freedom. You deserve to make your own choices without someone else deciding your fate. Kira looked at him with those strange, beautiful eyes. And if I choose you? Marcus's heart did something complicated in his chest. Kira, you don't even know me. I know you risked your life to save people you had never met, she said. I know you saw a person in pain, and your first instinct was to help. I know you speak of freedom and mean it. That is more than I knew about the man I was supposed to marry. That's not enough to base a marriage on, Marcus insisted. Even as part of him wondered why he was arguing so hard. Perhaps not by human standards, Kira acknowledged. But my people believe that character reveals itself in crisis. You have shown me yours. And besides, I am not asking you to wed me this moment. I am asking you to allow me the chance to know you better. To see if what began with the removal of a collar might grow into something real. Marcus looked at her, really looked at her, and saw not just an alien following tradition, but a person who had survived unimaginable hardship and still had the courage to reach for connection. She was not asking him to save her. She was asking him to see if they might save each other. Okay, Marcus said finally. When you get settled at the embassy, you can contact me. We'll talk. We'll get to know each other. No promises beyond that. Kira's smile could have lit the entire station. That is all I ask." She reached out and took his hand, her grip strong and warm. Her skin felt different than human skin, smoother and cooler, but not unpleasant. Marcus found himself squeezing back. "You know," he said with a slight smile, "if this works out, I'm going to have to explain to my family that I accidentally got married by removing a collar. They're never going to let me live it down." Kira laughed, and it was the first truly joyful sound he had heard from any of the freed prisoners. "If it helps, I will tell them it was destiny. My people have great respect for destiny." "Sure," Marcus said, grinning now. "We'll go with destiny. That sounds better than saying I stumbled into an intergalactic marriage because I'm handy with a multi-tool." As Kira laughed again, Marcus thought that maybe destiny was not such a bad explanation after all. Sometimes the best things in life came from simple acts of kindness, offered freely without thought of reward. And if this strange beginning led to something meaningful, well, he had certainly heard of relationships that started with less. The collar lay forgotten on a medical tray nearby, its red glow finally extinguished. Neither of them looked at it. They were both too busy looking forward,